Mic check 1, 2. Sorry. Alrighty. So yes, it looks like we have most of the folks that are appearing online are also in office, but it looks like we do have one guest online. Michael Peterson, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, so let's call this meeting to order. I'm Olivia Lunsford, and I am the vice chair of the committee. This is the Fast Planning Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and it is 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 27th, 2023. So for introduction of Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee members, we have the following members present at today's meeting: Larry Zervos and Jim Richardson. Thank you both for being here. So far, we are showing that Nathan Bells, Susan Bissell, Travis Nybert, and Kim Streeter are absent. I will let you know online if any of that changes, and we will state it for the record if so. For Fast Planning staff, we have present myself, Olivia Lunsford, Jackson Fox, Corey DeRuliano, and Deborah Todd. And for other attendees, we have Don Galligan, Carl Heim, and Matt Leyrall, right? Present with us in the room. So I think that's everybody. And if there's anyone who's present whose name I did not call, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and let us know your name. Okay, and seeing that we don't have quorum still, we will skip items 3 and 4 on the agenda, which requires the vote of the committee for the approval of the agenda and approval of the minutes. If we do attain quorum at some point of the meeting, we will bounce back to these items and have them voted on. So for now, we will skip to agenda item 5, which is the staff working group chair report. This is on pages 8 and 9 of your package. Jackson, would you please provide this report?
Yeah, the technical committee and policy board meetings over the past month, there's really just 2 action items that they had before them. And they don't directly relate to the committee, but I'll give you an update on them regardless. So we did do an administrative modification to our funding plan, which we call our TIP. Some of the changes in that were providing the funding needed for the Fifth Avenue reconstruction project, where the bids came in about $800,000 high. We stole that money for the Mini Street upgrade project. So it effectively delayed the entire Mini Street project by 1 year. However, then all in the same breath, we gave the city and DOT half the money they needed to complete the final design phase. So they didn't have to shelve the project for a year so that they could continue on their design work moving forward. The way that we were able to accomplish that funding allocation to keep Mini Street on track as best as we could was we delayed the Lacey Street planning study out 1 year. So that's now been moved out to 2024, which to us means, well, we can start that in October if we wanted to. So it's not really a big delay. But we did remove the funding for the Airport Way Pega Road intersection study with the assumption that DOT is going to do a larger corridor study for the entire length of Pega Road from South Fairbanks all the way up to the Johansson Expressway. And they are intending to fund that utilizing their own money and without a contribution from Fast Planning. So really that kind of wraps up the changes for that, our funding plan. The second thing that these 2 committees act on is that they approved a scope of services to hire a consultant to assist us with a local electric vehicle infrastructure deployment plan. And that request for proposals, hopefully within the next month or so, will be out on the streets so that we can hire a consultant team to assist us with that. But this planning effort, it's a relatively small planning effort, just $150,000. But we will be looking at the needs for our area for creating a network of electric vehicle charging
Okay, can you hear us, Michael or Travis?
Yep, we can hear you.
Great, okay, cool. I'll get the packet back up, but just wanted to make sure audio was set. Thank you. Okay, Jackson, would you please
Sorry,
proceed with
so-
your staff report?
Continuing on, we're looking at, we want a consultant team that has some electric vehicle planning expertise to help us look at locations for electric vehicle charging stations throughout Fairbanks North Pole. But also looking at the types of chargers that we may want to install, some of the funding that we have, but also pursuing discretionary grant opportunities. There have been a lot of charging stations installed in Juneau, in Anchorage, and it's interesting that what we learned is the lower level chargers that take, say, up to 8 hours to charge a vehicle actually get a lot higher utilization than the fast charging stations. And we don't really know why. Folks that own electric vehicles may plug them in at home and may have a full charge when they come into town. And, maybe throughout the activities over the day, their charge reduces by, a quarter tank, so to speak. And they just kind of want to top it off before they get home. I don't really understand the psychology behind the decision-making process if you're an electric vehicle owner and when you decide to charge. Other factors could be is that oftentimes publicly accessible charging stations are free of charge. So you could charge a vehicle up in town for free, and then when you go home at night, if you don't plug it in, then you've saved a lot of money on your electric bill. So factors of that nature can also play in. But there is going to be a build out of charging stations between Anchorage and Fairbanks. And so we expect to have visitors to our community from outside. And expectation is, maybe area hotels need electric vehicle charging stations. So that's an example. I do know that in the new statewide transportation improvement program and their funding plan, they are proposing to put electric vehicle charging stations at the airport here in Fairbanks. And I know that the rental car companies are looking at converting their fleets from traditional gas power to electric vehicles. And so this is a changing dynamic for our community. I think the growth will be slow over time. We may not get to full adoption. We may be well behind the lower 48 in this venture, but again, we're looking to hire a consultant team that has some electric vehicle planning experience to help kind of advise us as to what policies, what type of network that we think we should have to best serve the community. So this is something that will be underway over the next year.
With those stations, could they charge electric bikes?
Yeah. And I was talking to Corey about this, but we're actually one of the most electrified communities in the US with all of our motor vehicle plugins. Because like with a hybrid vehicle, you can use those to plug in and get us kind of a slow trickle charge. So there's actually a lot more opportunity in our infrastructure around town than what we realize for this. But an e-bike, of course, can be charged with those motor vehicle plugins as well. So we got to take that into account and figure out what exactly that means. So, and then speaking about e-bikes, I guess my only other update is you may have seen in the news that Dunleavy vetoed the e-bike bill. And I read the article a few times, and my conclusion is that Governor Dunleavy didn't really understand the intent of the bill. And it is in fact not more bureaucracy, but it actually provides some clarification that e-bikes are not motor-driven cycles and shouldn't be regulated that way underneath DMV regulations. I felt it was a deregulation, but I don't believe he interpreted it that way or looked into it very deeply. But
And so that I think was Representative Carrick.
Yes.
Trying to organize some sort of veto attempt.
yeah, in the next legislative session, she's going to try to bring it back up to try to get a 2/3 majority vote to override the veto. I think it's 2/3.
Well, in both the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
There was only one no vote.
There was a-
Oh, no vote.
It was, very much a nonpartisan issue.
No-brainer.
My only concern with it was that we capped it at 750 lots instead of 1,000 lots. That's
It's 750 watts and above, right? Is that how it was written? Because most bikes
I don't
are
remember.
sold at 750, which means there's a whole classification that does.
It was
count
at
as a
750 to like 1,000 when we put in the motorcycle category.
Right, versus doing 751, which means that everything up to like a class 3 is okay.
So I think that, so that concludes, I guess, my update, but Olivia did include a email from Tom Green in the packet.
I was gonna read that in at the public comment period, but do you want that to be just in the staff report?
I think just in the staff
Oh,
report.
okay.
And I think if, if Michael has any public comment to provide, since he's attending the meeting, I'd open the floor to him.
So you want me to just go over this real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so just really quick before we open up the floor for the public comment period, this is an email that we received from Tom McGrain between our last meeting and now. And it's about the gravel along paths. You can read the email at your discretion, but these are the photos that he sent, and I just wanted to get it on the record. Just to kind of continue to highlight how bad the gravel impacts non-motorized users at certain times of year. So that's the general sentiment of these photos, and we all know that it's definitely a challenge when you're biking or rollerblading or scootering or what have you along these non-motorized paths, and he just wanted to get it documented and stated for the record in one of our meetings. So
And is it true to believe this gravel comes from motorized vehicles kicking it onto the trail?
I think that's what we know happens. So I don't know what's so bad about those sections versus other sections. Like, this is one to two residents that go out every day in an off-road vehicle, or is it cars from the farmer's loop area or what have you? I'm not too sure. So
What I've seen at my house is that it's the snow removal. Pushes it off, and then when the snow melts, the gravel stops.
So I was out there last year with a leaf blower,
Uh-huh.
blowing that area off right there.
Okay.
I did it 3 times, and every time I would do it, somebody would ride by on a 4-wheeler or come down from Skyline and just
Yeah.
and knock more gravel on there. So I blow it off and then they blow it back on.
Huh.
Yeah, so.
You can blow that kind of thing off?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can we
Yeah, I
just
got a
get-
little leaf blower. I go out there. Yeah, because we bike that all the time. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 4-wheelers and they come by at like 40 miles an hour and it just knocks it right back on the path. And they kind of go by and I'm like, yeah, and I'm just like. So yeah, there's like 4 or 5 residents up there that spend a lot of time on 4-wheelers in the ditch there. And it just blows it right on the bike path.
So I guess my question would be, this is like an accumulation of gravel from snow removal over years past since this path has been in existence. Is that like a safe assumption?
Some of the aggregate's pretty big. I would expect that it's not all from snow removal. Like some of these are river rocks and they're, palm sized.
Yeah, so Dan, I know for a fact, we rode this right after he swept it and it was completely clean, like
Yeah.
middle of May. And it was completely free of gravel. He had swept it all because we biked it and it was, and then they don't do anything else again. And the gravel stays there. And, some does get pushed onto the slope, but then it gets moved onto the bike path with mechanical means for motorized vehicles.
Yeah. I
So
guess I'm,
it's cleaned every year at the beginning of the summer and then he doesn't go back and do it again. No, he only does it once in the beginning, once in the end.
I'm just wondering, some winter communities will remove the gravel or the rocks that they place in their roadways after winter. Or they'll use that last cleanup before breakup to get a lot of the gravel up in the snow and then store it and then repurpose that gravel. And I guess I just wonder, is this going to continue to build into an amount of gravel every year because they're flinging new gravel to maintain the path And maybe is there a way that we could reduce the amount that four-wheelers could be putting onto the paths by maybe looking into a different model for maintaining?
Just looking at it, part of the issue is that bike path is just about level with subbed. And so a lot of it will get picked up. If you look at the bike paths out in North Pole, I mean, that subbed is 4 feet below the bike path. The other issue is you have equipment small enough. Like the city will go through and they'll take their vacuum trucks and pull up the
Pull
rock
up,
that they put
yeah.
down all there. You doesn't have equipment small enough to vacuum that up.
Right now.
We've got brooms and they can just pick stuff off the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Can I share one thing too? Just screen share it in just a second here. So I was on this path a couple days ago. Something that I noticed. Once the screen share is working. So in areas where there's a wider separation between the path and the road, you can get adequate enough sort of ditch or swale in between that the vehicles stay in there, and then the grade difference is such that as gravel does get sprayed, it never really makes it up on top of the path here. But then when you look at other sections where the grade gets closer together, or where the grade is sort of a monoslope, like this is on a graph here, where it slopes down, all this gravel, even with the lightest amount of non-motorized or motorized use on here, really starts to spread it down into the path. So some consideration might be, as like right away permits for it, but try to keep those paths separate and keep the bike path elevated relative to the road or that ditch as much as possible. Just so that at a bare minimum, gravity will keep the rocks from naturally flowing across. Plus, when there's rain and other debris, I mean, it's naturally washing across that.
Travis agrees.
Yeah, it's, I mean, of all the areas, so I biked it with a broom because I got tired of rollerblading through gravel. And it's really fast to kind of clean up, but it does just tumble right back into the path really easily and quickly. And then other areas, something that we talked about in a previous one is, you know, a lot of the geometry of these paths doesn't really acknowledge user behavior. And this is like a pretty simple example where if you pave the path or the desire line that people are actually taking, that would also reduce a lot of that gravel spray. But everyone that stopped while I was sweeping was very thankful. So, if you guys ever want to go on some warm-up points, just take a broom and go to a path. Yep.
Well, I guess actually, it's the next item would be you, so you should just stay sharing the links and everything. So before we move on to that, we will open up the floor for the public comment period. If there's any member of the public that wishes to speak about anything not listed on the agenda as an action item, which is nothing today, please raise your hand in the participant box or speak up now, starting with your name.
Sure, yeah. Well, hi, I'm Mike. Yeah, one thing I kind of want to bring up, it seems like this is the appropriate group to bring it up. I commute to work going to UAF along the Johansson bike path. And I don't know if there's a way we could get some kind of sound dampening between the road and the bike path. But there's just that chain link fence there. And that's all there is. So it's pretty noisy. So I don't know if there's anything we can do about that, but that'd be super cool. But also, I just want to say thank you guys for doing this. This is great.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you so much for your comment. We'll keep that in mind as conversations evolve over time about the Johansson path, for sure. Okay, anything else, Matt? Do you have anything?
Just thank you, DOT, for the educational opportunity in both days. You talked about it before.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. So for anyone who didn't hear that online, Matt was just saying thank you to DOT for making the effort to provide some more education on the Gaffney Airport Richardson Stees intersection. And we will actually have an update from Carl Heim on that a little bit later on our agenda. So now we can move on to old business item 7A, which is the bike lane signing and striping pilot program. Corey, would you please introduce this item?
Sure. So I'd say about 3 or 4 months now ago, we handed over the recommendations from this group to the city of Fairbanks related to the bike lane pilot project. I wanted to show kind of a quick update on that. So these blue lines indicate the roads that were in the recommendation packet. It was the kind of phase 1 of a more connected network. The city came back with some questions and kind of thoughts on other things, and we talked about the network sort of evolving to look more like this. They had some trepidation about going north of the river and doing this section of Illinois. And then their suggestions were to eliminate Stacia Street and this big long stretch of 17th. And if the goal is to move kind of east to west, to use 14th to Cowles rather. Or is it, what's south, is that Cowles?
Gillum.
Gillum, yep, sorry, Gillum. So the benefit there is coming south on Barnett. Now you can continue through Airport Way and continue south on Gillum. So that is a more intact corridor. Before, we were looking at Stacia as a Sharrow road example, and also because it provided sort of back lot access to all of the businesses along South Cushman there. So that's kind of where the current state of it exists. We also talked about some of the methods that can be used to black out the MMA, MMA?
Yep.
Okay, I was thinking
Nothing
of
with
mixed martial
acolyte.
arts, yeah. All right, the markings that are on some of the existing roads, how that can be blacked out temporarily and then removed at the conclusion of this 1-year pilot. We're also looking at potential separation devices when we've got a 2-way cycle track like we proposed on Barnett Street and on 1st and 2nd. And then the city also requested a few alternate options on Barnett and 1st and 2nd, and that's looking at semi-separated single lanes rather than consolidated 2-way bikes. So we're working on these exhibits right now and offered our assistance to the city with their outreach efforts, which we hope are going to start in probably September. We'll start going to the public for comment and feedback about the suggested routes, the cross sections, et cetera, designs.
So Corey, like, these is it designed to be interconnected?
Yeah, the goal is that this is a phase 1 network that eventually will expand into more and more places. And we tried to bridge the geographic area between north of airport, south of airport. We tried roads with different volumes, and then they'll have a variety of different treatments. Sharrows, semi-protected bike lanes, flexi posts, kind of as much as we can test in a short period.
Comment. Miles, I forgot his last name, the owns the bike store.
Dorian, Bankstown Bike and Ski.
Bankstown?
Bankstown, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's from New York City, and I went to a talk he gave at the university a week or so ago. And he went back there, he said there was no problem getting around because you were used to it. But he said when they had the 2-way separated bike lane, he said it was chaos because bicycles were often on the wrong side of their 2-way. So he would be somebody might be worth contacting if we consider a combined bicycle lane.
Yeah, a lot of we've been referencing MUTCD and other resources that show like the kinds of markings that you should have in bike lanes. One for like how vehicles interact with bikes, but also how bikes should be interacting with themselves and with pedestrians. So there's a lot of good standards that we can just piggyback right onto that talk about what side bikes should be on. And a lot of it is trying to stick with conventions that, when you're heading a certain direction, you want to be on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to defy those conventions, which we did propose something contrary to that before, and yeah, it's not best practices. So we're slowly ironing through these, but yeah, our hope is that once the city starts doing their public outreach, everybody comes and kicks the tires on this system and try to resolve as many questions as possible before they do paint.
Are there any sheriff's plans in the city's preferred plan?
Yes, so Shero, one of the negotiations with the city was that they are interested in doing one lane, individual bike lanes on 10th Avenue up to Noble Street. And then at Noble Street transitioning to Shero's for the remainder of the path headed west until it hits 2nd Avenue. So Shero's will exist on that stretch of 10th, or sorry, this long stretch of 10th, and then also on 14th headed east-west. Everything else is too high volume to get Shero's, with the exception of Lacey, which is the intent for Lacey is to try individual bike lanes of varying widths along that, so that people can see what a 4-foot wide bike lane looks like versus a 6-foot or an 8-foot wide double.
So what was the volume that was quoted for Stacia?
Stacia was less than 1,000 ADT.
Yeah, it's more like 500. To me, I think that would be okay for Cheryl, but
Yeah, I think there's a
I'm
little
not
bit,
Bob, so.
I think there was some misunderstanding about what a Shero is and does. And they said that the amount of parking on Stacia, on-street parking, makes a Shero challenging, and tried to explain it anyway,
But
it'll go back to them in our materials.
people don't really park on Stacia. I mean, if you look at the earth, there's very little there.
Right.
So where is Stacia on this map?
So Stacia is this blue leg right here, and on the east side of it, it's all these driveways that are accessing parking lots essentially. And then on the west side of it, there's a sidewalk, and there are some driveways. What was Travis's comment?
Came and went.
It says, what is the utility of the bike route on 14th if there's no bike route on Stacia or the South Cushman area? And also, for the record, Travis Nyberg has joined us.
So the city was under the impression that the reason that Stacia and 17th were in there is because we were trying to bring people from Cushman, Lacey, and points north of the airport to the west, and then eventually kind of wind our way down to Davis. So the city, instead of doing this long stretch of 17th, which has MMA, they recommended doing 14th to bring people along to the west and then south on Gillum. So the connectivity, the benefit in connectivity is that, like I said, you know, the lanes coming south on Barnett can transition and continue south on Gillum. And the previous system basically had the bike lanes terminating there, and then people breaking off east and west on airport using the shared use path. So if this is something the group feels strongly about, that there's utility in the 17th and Stacia because of its parallel to South Cushman, I'm happy to kind of write that up and go back to the city and talk about the additional goals of having the path where it was initially recommended.
Would that be in lieu of the one coming down on the other side of the airport, you know, the red line?
I'd hope not.
No,
I'd hope it'd
I
just be
like that.
additive.
Yeah, you know, and we're talking about Stacia, it's a dozen stencils, you know, it's really not that much in terms of what's gonna happen there. The larger investment is 17th, which is gonna require some blackouts and new striping and the loss of the center turn lane. Another thing of note is that the city did also recommend that we add in cowls, which was not previously part of the system there.
Cowles?
And in Cowles is what?
Bike lanes.
From here.
From airport to second.
Yep.
That's already a narrow enough road.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's like
The
super.
sidewalk.
The city engineer said it will fit.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I would be in support from Cowles on 10th to where the bike path connects between Denali Elementary, so that way that would see more traffic up the second.
So I did, I'll show an example of it. I did go out to these because the city requested that we provide grade points for a lot of these roads. And so I went out with a LiDAR scanner to a lot of these locations and actually scanned them verbatim. So this is basically using an iPad and going from point to point. The nice thing about it is that you can snap lines on this. Oops. And get the kind of exact distances between things on the road here. So I've got these typical sections for all of the roads that we recommended in the bike network.
Is that on count?
This is not, I can go to Cowles. This is Phillips Field, which I was measuring for other things. Let me see if I can find Cowles here. So 23rd east of Cowles. Here's Cowles at 23rd.
Well, that's really wide there though.
Yeah,
That's not the problem. It's more the. Or second.
Actually, you know what? I do have a measure of Cowles right by the library. I know.
That's pretty much it too. It's more of like past bowling alley.
Cowles at, I've got Cowles at 2nd, 5th, and 6th. Any of those?
Yeah.
yeah,
Which one?
that's what they put there on there.
All right. So given the current curb, because there's no drain pan in here now, there will be though after this design is done. 32.6.
Wow.
Well, that what it is.
It does feel quite claustrophobic in that
Yeah.
corridor.
There's a lot more there on the-
Yeah.
Living in that neighborhood, if I'm going north-south, I take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quiet.
So here we go.
There you go.
First time.
It's pretty slick technology.
It is.
LiDAR is the best.
It's really great. iPhones can do it. The new iPhones can too.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna take back the packet unless there are any other questions for Corey. Okay, yes, focus on things of that. Okay, so that brings us to item number 7B in the packet, which is an update I'm very excited to provide all of you on with the Bikeways Map and Bike Friendly Businesses Program. So I have a few things that I want to show you with this. Your materials in the packet start on page 15, 15 through 19. But we also have actual bikeways maps to show you and give you in person, and we're going to be distributing them to businesses next week once we get our bike friendly business decals for the windows, and we also are waiting on our decals for the repair kit host windows. So just a reminder, or for those of you who haven't been in our previous meetings and are like, what's going on? We rebranded the Bikeways Map, but we also started a bike friendly FBX program. So part of this effort was to get businesses on board with our Bikeways Map and with promoting themselves as a bike friendly business and just generally marketing themselves as a place that is not just tolerant of bikes and bicyclists, but welcomes them with open arms. So we took it upon ourselves to start trying to map locking bike storage availability amongst these businesses and throughout town, as well as businesses that do incentivize their customers to bike to their businesses by doing like a sticker program or 10% off of any purchase or 10% off of a beverage, entering you into a raffle, things like that. And then we also got a lot of businesses thinking about ways that they could incentivize customers. So a few of the ideas that have gotten thrown around include raffling off, what is that word I'm looking for? Raffling off tuition for the bike maintenance class that Simon Rockhour puts on, or putting together an opportunity for someone to come and teach a bike maintenance workshop and raffling off 5 spots for that, whatever it is. So those are some ideas that have come to light as a result of this endeavor. And then to top it all off, we purchased 15 Park Tool Advanced Mechanic repair kits with the help of Dorian from Bankstown Bike and Ski. And I just dropped the last one off yesterday. It has been a long time coming, but we finished off with our drop at the Malamute Saloon last night. And since they were the last ones to get their repair kit, they were the first ones in the community to get their bikeways maps. So I dropped it all there last night, and the folks that were there that saw me come in with a repair kit were just ecstatic and a little confused at first. A lot of people thought I was trying to sell the kits. And then I was able to explain, no, the repair kit hosts are on the map. So the idea is that these kits are available for public use, and we really tried to distribute them in a way that took into account business hours of operation, distance from one repair kit to another, and so on. So I'm really excited to finally share the physical version of this map with y'all today. And then the other exciting thing is that I'm closing in on the digital version of the map, which will be interactive as well. And folks will be able to geolocate themselves just like on the old digital map, but they'll be able to geolocate themselves amid all of this new information, which includes where is a bike rack and where is a repair kit. So this is just the bare bones version of it right now, but I did want to show you that it's going to be pretty slick after a little while. So we've got bus stops, bus routes, and then all of the non-motorized accommodating facilities, and then the certain businesses that are repair kit hosts, as well as businesses that are just considered bike friendly and are welcoming to bikes and bicyclists. So that's the big update. I think in total we raised almost $2,000. I think that's what it was, right?
1725.
1725, and then the roll company owes me 75, so 1,800 as the start of this effort. So I'm really excited that we have the bones now to kind of move into the next form of this vision, which would be like a tiered sponsorship situation and having logos present in different locations. So
the businesses provided money for these?
yeah, we had a $75 buy-in just to kind of have at least some point of entry, and then just like a somewhat of a filter just to make sure that people were up for being responsible for hosting a repair kit. So we needed a little bit of a barrier to entry. That's what I meant to say. So that's what we went with, and then throughout this adventure, many business owners were not shy to tell me that they would have paid way more to be on this map, which is not what I'm looking for, but it's good to know. And I'm hoping that next year we can kind of tier it out a little bit and then be able to print even more maps. Because this year we still were only able to print about 3,500 after flipping the repair kits and just getting everything set up, which is about the same amount that we print just on our fast planning budget. So next year I would really like to be able to print like 10,000 and just really get them out the door in April and be able to turn them over whenever places are running out. So that's the goal. But anyways, please, if you feel like it, take 5 or 10 with you, hand them out to your friends. I do have a list of the businesses that I will be distributing them to as well. So it'll be everyone you see on the map. But all these businesses are going to get anywhere between 50 to 200 essentially. So we're just trying to cast a really wide net. Usually in the past, we've only distributed large amounts of maps to a small amount of businesses. So we're just going the complete opposite end of the spectrum this year, and doing little, like fewer maps at loads and loads of businesses. So it's gonna be really interesting just to see how more widespread the conversation is about this map. And I'm really eager to get the community's feedback as well as yours. So are there any other questions about the new bikeways map or comments?
Those toolkits are pretty neat.
Thank you. Yeah.
Might have one of those.
Right? I know, but you could, you can go and get a coffee at Little Owl and work on your bike if you need to. A lot of places, once I was dropping off the kits, they were just like, this is so cool. I mean, someone could come here and just like hang out and work on their bike. I'm like, yeah, that's the idea. Like we're generating commerce, we're promoting awareness of the fact that there are bikers in this town, rain or shine, snow or not. So, and the other thing, yeah, I distributed, I cut up a bunch of canvas and then I distributed a bunch of like bike-sized drop cloths too, and all the businesses have been really stoked about that. Which at first I thought it felt a little just like kind of crazy. I was like just in here with my serger, just like making these drop cloths, but every single business owner was like, this is awesome. Someone can work on their bike inside and not mess up anything. So yeah, I think that we really did try to think of everything, and it's going to be really cool to see just how this evolves. And we're hoping to outfit a few businesses with bike racks in the very near future. So that's sort of the next level of helping people kind of step up their bike friendliness. So we will get there and we'll have reports on that eventually. So but yeah, any other questions? I did, yeah, and Dorian and I filmed a video. So basically what I'm planning to do for that, I guess I could show you this too. What I'm planning to do for that, so this is the webpage that has like the bike friendly FBX brand on it and just kind of explains what the repair kit hosts, where they live, and then these are linked to each of these businesses' locations. So you can definitely see how I'm already visualizing tiering this out. Like we link to your business here and we put your logo there and all of that kind of stuff. But eventually I would like for this page to basically have a gallery that has a picture of each of the tools that are in the repair kit, which I do have already. And then that picture will link to a video either done by Park Tool or by us or by affiliates with Bankstown Bike and Ski. And that will just show how and what to use the tool for. So I'm looking forward to building that out over the winter because it's definitely like a cozy winter project where we can just outfit this webpage with a little bit more how-to information. And then that can persist, I mean, for years to come because tools are tools and they're trusted for a reason. So anyways, that's the other thing. So, and that website is, will be promoted with everything too. So keep an eye out for this program in the Newsminer online. I'm trying to actually get on KUAC with Simon for the Northern Sound Bikes bit that he does. Yeah, so we're definitely going to promote the heck out of this, and I'm super excited to kind of close the chapter on the prep work and move on to the like, let's talk about it and let's use kits. Oh yes, and I guess, okay, so Michael, sorry, I'm just seeing your question. Is there currently a safe route to bike to North Pole from Fairbanks during the construction? A safe route?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Chino Hot Springs to Nordale.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Springs to
It's very
Nordale.
scenic.
That's what,
Yep.
that's exactly what Travis said as
It's
well.
safe.
Scenic and safe, so there you
Yeah,
go,
It's
very
definitely-
far around.
Definitely out of the way. though.
Yeah, for the record, we did try to get a repair kit in like Two Rivers or Pleasant Valley, and I really had a hard time getting a call back from anyone. So there's no repair kits out there, and then there's none in North Pole. So hopefully next year we can kind of just be like, here's the map, here's the idea, and folks will buy in a little bit easier. So.
You used to be able to cut through the base to get to.
Oh yeah, I've
Across
heard
the-
tell of that. Yeah,
Then around that.
not anymore.
If anybody hasn't heard, with time through base, if you're on an e-bike, you have to have motorcycle lessons. You have to take them.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And you have to have a reflective test for the whole 9 yards. That's like the moment.
On an e-bike? Wow.
Wow.
Okay, well, yeah, if there's no more conversation about the bike friendly business program, we can move on to item 7C, which is the discussion about the Peter Stern path, the Johansson path, north side. We had originally intended for Nathan Bells to provide us with a little bit of an update on this item, but he was unavailable for today's meeting kind of last minute. So the general update is that you all know DOT is supportive of this effort, and we've begun kind of marking up the corridor for signage. We also were able to get in touch with Peter's family through Kellen Spillman in the community planning department. And we're pleased to say that his family is very much in support of this effort that the BPAC is hoping to implement here fairly soon. So I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add for now.
No, I think you covered kind of where we're at. We're all checking with everybody that we need support from to move forward. But Corey has put together kind of a one pager here for you all to kind of look at and consider. As we were discussing this internally, I mean, it may simply be named the Peter Stern Path as opposed to Memorial Path or something like that without having that word in it. But Corey began to identify some locations of, for entry points for people that use the path to see the official name designation. And of course, we want to work with the family and DOT as to what these signs might actually look like. But Corey, if you could kind of go over your proposed locations for the sign locations.
Yeah, so it's really at kind of the major inlet outlet points. So they're start of it on University, where College Road crosses. There's two spots and then all the way over at the East Expressway. So there are some photographs of those areas. A common thread in all these locations, they have a chain link fence on one side. So this could be a fence mounted sign, or if you kind of zoom in, I don't know if you can get in, oh, there you go, bottom right-hand corner. So that's another really common one, is just the bike route and the no motor vehicles. I have found some examples that have, just the name above the bike route sign. There's one called Mark Vance bike route that's in Tennessee. So it could just say Peter Stern above the bike trail there. It could be really simple, or it could be something more elaborate, but just need to kind of consider maintenance and positioning and everything else.
Corey, one of the places I go by every day is the entrance onto Pegwood Road from there, and that actually gets quite a bit of them. So I might suggest one more.
Yep. Okay.
Location.
Yeah, that's a great point. Coming like north on Pegger and going east or west from that point. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good idea.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like see it because you gotta go under the underpass and stuff.
Right,
You don't
right.
do that all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the idea of it being the Peter Stern path. I could just picture people being like, oh yeah, I took the PSP from University down to downtown, let's just start incorporating it into our daily commute language. Great. Yeah, so that's the general update on that. I don't know why this is being so.
If it's an aluminum back sign with like retroreflective tape on it, I mean, that's something can be made up at DOT sign shop or even the city sign shop. They've made them for us in the past. So if it's that simple, this is a really easy project that we could, have installed before the snowfall. But I guess we did want to open up dialogue about other ideas for something other than an aluminum back sign. We'll want to discuss this, of course, with the family too, but we just had this on the agenda to give you all an update and see if you had any thoughts tonight.
What alternatives could there be to the aluminum?
Well, like with Borough Parks and Rec, kind of their theme is it's a piece of wood, that's engraved, and the letters that are inset into it, are painted inside. So it could be a little bit fancier of a sign like that. That's on 4x4 pressure treated posts or something like that. That's off to the side. It'd be great to have a statue of Peter Stern out there. in full stride, you know.
Don't worry about
But,
that.
I don't- Yeah, yeah.
Like the borough has like the trails markers.
Yep.
That they're full color, and they're still fairly small, but they're full color. You can have something a little fancier that way rather than. the
Yeah, I'd like to see an example of that.
I can,
The
There's
what?
you're talking about the trails.
The
now?
trail markers
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that the borough does.
yeah. Yeah, people-
Aluminum will last a lot longer.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
they
say,
will.
I know those are
Yep.
plastic.
Some chunk go out there and knock
I'm
a
gonna
wood
take
down
that
there.
screenshot.
Yeah.
Travis was just asking,
There you go.
Yeah.
That one on top
Oh,
right.
yeah,
That's
those are
it.
fun. Just saw one of those yesterday. Yeah.
Yep, so that's one. Here's that Mark Vance one. So it's, uninspired. But it's an easy one and it's probably very inexpensive. The types of signs, I'll show you, I've got a couple of photos that are a little more updated than what are on in your packet there, but this is the university end of things. So there's the pathway, no motor vehicles, signage that's already there. There are also these kind of, end posts at each one of the locations. Here's the other end, College East, the same thing, bike route, and a post kind of facing. So it really just depends on, who you're trying to show it to. If you mount it flush to the fence, you're not gonna see it until you're going past it. If you mount it to one of these pre-existing fence posts, you can see it from a greater distance. But certainly we could, start mocking something up that is a little more vibrant, like the Trails Challenge one. So it doesn't just read like a DOT sign. No offense.
Travis also mentioned maybe a metal sign with raised lettering, like at a historic site, or could we get one maybe like that has a description as to why we're renaming this path?
Yep.
And then that could just be at one spot, and then we could have the PSP throughout it. Yeah, I think that's what, yeah. I definitely like the sound of that. I think that would convey the
For something
message.
like that, does anybody have an idea on location? I mean, my immediate thought is at College and Johansson and kind of the northeastern corner where there's a big grass area. And that spot was something he, for whatever reason, he paid attention to that area.
Yeah, let me find, there's a really large area there.
Travis said what entrance is closest to Peter's house? He lived off of Aurora, right?
Yeah, in the Aurora subdivision,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
but he
That would
walked
be coming
everywhere.
up on the Johansson out of Aurora there, but that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an area that does have, there's some space over to the right-hand side of the fence here that's all within DOT right away. So there's areas to put something slightly more substantial in here that right now is just kind of a terrible gravel pit. This is College. Yeah, this is University and Geist.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And there's a lot of cross traffic in this area here.
Yeah, so, having counted that intersection for the last 4 years, a lot of like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we definitely have some good ideas, and we can start marking up some of these ideas and hopefully bring y'all some drafted signage at the next meeting. But we'll definitely touch base with Nathan after this meeting and just kind of find out if he has any additional updates, and we can move on from there. So thank you, Corey, for sharing that. So yes, page 21, item 7D in your packet. Yeah, I will take it up in just a second. This is the thing that Jackson was introducing that I can't remember the long name of, that I
Oh,
didn't type.
outsourcing, non-motorized,
Non-motorized.
yeah, route maintenance.
Yeah, would you please introduce this?
Yeah, so at our last joint meeting of the Seasonal Mobility Task Force, we've, re-elevated this idea of trying to get into the state budget a line item for non-motorized facility maintenance, particularly winter, though summer, I think, is also equally important. And since that meeting, we did have a statewide, what we call an MPO quarterly meeting here in our office last week. So we had our sister organizations from Anchorage and Matsu, as well as DOT folks from Juneau and Anchorage and Fairbanks, all here in the room. And this was one of the topics that we discussed, and there is unanimous support from all the other urban areas in the state to assist with this push with the legislature this next session to see if they'll consider that. But the idea again is that you have a dedicated budget line item to hire out, contract out the work. So DOT is still left to clearing the roadways with their crews. But the intent of this money is to hire local contractors, and maybe it's, you know, it is in fact a small business, and they own a fleet of 2 to 4 Bobcats, and you know, when the snow hits, they're pretty much hitting the ground the same time DOT is in clearing the roadways, but there's, you know, kind of a separation of duties between that. And then Lee Hart, who's the head of the Alaska Active Transportation Coalition, who has a monthly meeting that brings together folks interested in, well, active transportation statewide together into a meeting. That advocacy group is also interested in supporting this. And she did have a conversation with Commissioner Ryan Anderson about it. And he's like, yeah, I remember this from 2 years ago when we discussed it at Fast Planning. And so the commissioners, again, still supports this. So the idea would be is that I kind of develop a, you know, 1 to 2 page white paper on the concept, and then introduce some language that could go into a House or Senate bill to add this into the state budget. Of course, it would need to be shared with the governor and whatnot, but if we have a small package ready, there's a lot of people standing in the wings from other communities that would like to offer resolutions or letters of support to go behind it. So, so that's something that we're going to be working on this summer and fall. And it's up to me to get some words on paper so that we can begin to massage it into something that people can understand easily and hopefully get behind. So anyways, in any event, that's my update. I've been shopping the idea, and it sounds like there's lots of support from outside agencies and organizations, including everyone I've talked to at DOT likes the idea so far.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's great. And I mean, yeah, I just went to a training at the Ezra User Conference with another community that was just presenting on their winter maintenance efforts, and their non-motorized is completely separate from the vehicular winter maintenance, and they're able to get stuff done at a very efficient rate. So it was really inspiring to see. That was the city of Calgary, actually. It was inspiring to see, and we feel really excited about moving forward with this goal. Keep our fingers crossed. All right, so thank you for that update, Jackson. This brings us to item 8A, new business item. We get to turn things over to a dearly missed former BPOC member, Carl Heim.
Right.
We miss you. Why is this going forward and not backwards? There we go. For presentation / discussion with you about the Gaffney Airport Richardson Steves intersection construction and any updates. So I will stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you, Carl.
All right, thank you, Olivia. So I don't have to share.
That should be good.
It's gonna be weird because I'm gonna.
Because like you're here, but you're
I'm
zooming.
gonna
Yeah.
share my own, share myself. That would.
Yep.
Yeah, great. So I have loads and loads of information. I could talk about this project for an hour, but I think what I'll try to do is just go over, you know, because it's bicycle and pedestrian committee, so I'll just kind of talk about the way the intersection is gonna operate from a peds and bike standpoint. So this is a current photo that was taken of the construction like a week ago, week and a half from, I don't know how we buy these, but we do get them and they go into the weekly updates with the construction manager. So this is pretty much as it exists today. Minus a few signal poles that you may have noticed them standing up. So I'm going to kind of show you the way the route is supposed to work here, based on what's currently being constructed. And I also have the signing and striping plans, which are a little bit convoluted, but we can still talk about them. So you know they built this piece of the bike path. So I'm just going to use a red marker here to kind of show this is coming in from North Pole. So this has been constructed. So I just, obviously you can see the Steese Expressway is up here, Gaffney, I'm sorry, I don't have a, this is Airport Way. So the idea is if you're coming in from North Pole, you would come up on the paved path here. This is the exit to head out to Fort Wainwright. And then you're gonna cross, the crosswalk hasn't been installed yet because they still haven't striped the intersection. Then you're gonna access the sidewalk this direction here. And this is actually currently being constructed. And you're gonna cross this direction. So you can cross that way. Or, sorry, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more here. Well, that's actually because my computer screen is kind of small. Or you're gonna be able to cross this direction and then across the ramp here, heading on to Airport Way, because this sidewalk has currently already been constructed. You'll also be able to, and mind you, the paint isn't here. You'll also be able to cross this direction and then across the ramp there, all along Airport Way again. There is another bike path up this direction, where you'll also be able to cross that way. And, oh, I guess I should have drawn this over here. I don't quite know if I'm drawing the bike path. I feel like the bike path is over there in that direction, or maybe it's off in the woods somewhere.
So the woods.
Is it in the woods? Yeah, let me undo that one. So I feel like maybe it's back in here or something like that.
Is this an updated aerial photo?
Yeah, so this is like a week old. This is literally from Fairbanks. It's from the construction managers, Caroline
Yeah.
Maniaci, provided this in our construction update. So this is how it looks as of a week ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
That's big progress.
yeah, so it's almost done. They're about 90% complete. They're setting up the signal poles. I think you've probably seen the graphics or the message boards. They're gonna close it August 5th through August the 14th or 15th. Because Fort Wainwright is gonna reconstruct their gate and then they're gonna set up all the signal poles, put the, the computer out there and turn everything on. So again, just to kind of reiterate, coming in from North Pole, I mean, this is pretty much, this is the corridor here. You're gonna be able to cross all four corners of the intersection, from pork chop to pork chop here along Airport Way. I mean, some of this is existing and some of it's new. So that's the current aerial graphic. I don't want to kind of throw this one up here because this sort of okay. So this does make it, but I just wanted to show you for context. This is how the stripe, this is how the paint, forget about, this is like high friction surface treatment we put in, but if you can just follow my line down here to kind of get context, this area that I'm pointing to over here in the bottom right hand corner, this is where you come up to the Garza intersection proper. And now you can kind of see how the striping and you can see how the crosswalk's carrying you across. This is over. So north is to your right on this graphic. I apologize. North is up on this graphic. But you can see how you're basically crossing all four corners of the intersections. You got a little island pedestrian refuge here. Got another one right here. And then you've also got one here. And then of course, there is no, you're crossing 2 lanes of traffic here. And then this is similar to, you wouldn't have a push button. These 4 corners, you'll have pedestrian push button, so you'll be controlling the crosswalk. Here you will not have push buttons here. It's similar to Geist and Johansson where you have that free right. And I really did talk to these guys a lot about putting push buttons in here and I'm trying to, I want to make this, because it's kind of confusing when I talk to the traffic modeling guy. So the way this intersection is going to operate, all these signals are synchronized together. And this guy showed up with this computer simulation, and then the guy who's programming the computer and going to the field, we're standing next to each other and they're like running it through the computer. And basically, this intersection is always going to operate. If you don't show up, if you show up there outside of like morning rush hour or evening rush hour, it's always going to be green for you effectively. That's the coordination of the intersection. That's how it's going to operate. And he, based on the model, which is field counts. So if you started adding these pedestrian push buttons, it like throws that synchronization out, and then it adds a bunch of delay to the traveling public. So he said that could be possible, but it really, really detrimentally impacts the function of the intersection for the cars. We really want people to show up here and not really have to stop if they don't have to. They'll still have to stop a little during morning and evening rush hour, but most of the time, if you're just going through here during the day, you're going to be arriving and leaving relatively soon on green. So so I did ask that question, but it messes up what they call the coordination. It'll delay the cars. Instead of stopping, coming up to a red and making your turn, you're going to end up stopping twice, which that's, not to sacrifice bicycles and peds, they're for car safety, but it was quite a sacrifice to make, to put those at these crosswalks here. So, but I did ask the question.
So the need to clear those intersections, allow the cars just to pass through as priority over safety.
Well, I wouldn't say it has priority over safety, because the more congested the intersection becomes, the more delay that people experience is actually a detriment to the bicycle and pedestrian safety, because then people get more frustrated. They tend to make poor decisions, which kind of actually sort of takes the safety of the entire intersection down. And then, because if people have to wait, the idea is you're not going to have to wait here. People experience 2 or 3 minutes of delay when they're supposed to be experiencing 15 or 20 seconds. People make poor decisions when they have to wait in an intersection during morning or afternoon rush hour. And the improvement over the current, access through this intersection. I mean, you know how far it is to cross any of these intersections right now from one side to the other. We got refuge islands everywhere here. I mean, the crosswalk distances, you're going to be able to make every one of these in 30 seconds. So, I mean, it's going to operate way better for bikes and peds. I feel that, not having a push button at this location in order to keep the sequencing and the synchronization through the intersection was probably a reasonable trade-off. Not one that I was super happy to have to make, but I think it's reasonable considering the type of intersection that's here. Yeah. So that's GARS. I could kind of go back to this drawing. All of this is built, and you can't use it yet. You'll be able to use it August 17th. Maybe August 18th is when it's going to be open to traffic. So, yeah. And this is existing, Airport Way has a sidewalk on both sides. So does the Steese Expressway, east and west. But yeah, right now, I mean, I really don't like crossing here myself. I try to avoid it if I can. I mean, I will if I have to, but I'll be happy to go here now. And then to the south of this intersection, they're currently constructing the overpass, which is going to pave. You can't see it on the drawing here. Maybe if I get a little bit farther south, but you can see where we stopped paving here. So it sorry. So this goes back to the gentleman on the phone's comment. So this is all constructed as well. It's not paved. And then the other project's going to match up to here. And then this will be the connection all the way to Badger Gate. They're not going to pave it this year just because they're not going to have the time. They're going to focus on getting the bridge open to traffic first. But next May or June, probably June or July is when they will connect Badger Road. This will be paved all the way up to the GARS intersection here. And you'll be able to bike from Fairbanks all the way out to North Pole via the Richardson and Badger Road. So that's kind of the construction schedule. And it's Travis Travis Malin from HC, they have both jobs, so we've been talking on other projects, so that's what he's planning on doing next summer.
Travis Nybert asked if each of those crossings are 2 lanes.
These here,
I
if
think so.
if Travis can hear me, yeah, everything's 2 lanes. So you got 2 lanes heading westbound on Airport Way. Well, these are obviously multiple lanes. These are 2, these are 2, but these are 2, but it's just the left turns. There's no through traffic here.
Okay.
So this is all turning traffic. It's not through traffic, will be controlled.
And it's all signals, so there's opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This is all,
Yeah, I think that was Susan's.
there'll be a push button at each one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that was Susan's complaint, was that northbound, southbound Steve's trying to cross with no signals currently. And when I saw the DOT booth
Oh,
in
yeah.
Golden Days, and they had all the little signals stood up and showed where they were, it was like, it made sense all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I
The cars will be stopping, so the pedestrians have the route.
yeah, this, it's kind of hard to see. I apologize, these graphics are a little busy, but if you can see the little eyeball, it looks like the eyelash right there. That right behind that, that's a push button. So there'll be a pedestrian push button in each direction here. Like any intersection, you know, you have 2 push buttons, one going one way and one going the other. So, yeah, this one might actually have 3. We've got the sidewalk here. But yeah, this, Travis, these 2, you'll be crossing 2 lanes here. 2 lanes here. But you'll be controlling the pedestrian will be controlling the intersection there from the pedestrian refuge, and you're crossing left turning traffic only. So, and the speed coming into these locations, if you're coming through here and you're trying to cross, you know, without signal control, you know, people are probably coming here at maybe 25 to 30 miles an hour, and then they're decelerating to make a left turn. It's a little bit different. You know, here you'll be controlling with the signal. This will be slower speed traffic if you're here trying to cross over to the sidewalk. Same as it is. Sorry, over here. Apologize. So they're only crossing these 2 locations without signal control. Everything else has pedestrian signal control. So it's really just this here and this here. Everything else will have red and white signalization for pedestrians.
He also asked, yeah, so the left turn lane crossings are where cars stop on red. He said, yeah, those 2 are the ones I'm concerned about. The right turn lane traffic never has to stop.
No, they do have signals.
They do.
Yeah, they do
Okay.
have signals to
They
stop.
do have signals to stop.
Yeah.
So you will have an opportunity to cross with stopped traffic.
Yes.
Okay,
That was the missing piece that I think
Yeah.
Susan was missing, that
yeah,
at the old days made perfect sense.
cool.
So right there is signal.
Yes, that's a signal right there.
Is there a stop bar for
Crosswalk.
traffic?
A
I mean, is there a
Crosswalk
crosswalk?
is the stop bar. Just like on Cushman, the full ladder.
So when
Yeah.
does the right turn lane?
Well, that won't have a
There's
ladder,
usually
but
a whole separate element, and it's held back from a crosswalk. I'll find an example.
Yeah, I need to,
Do you happen to know like the signal pattern, Carl? Because Travis is wondering like, when does the right turn lane get a red light? Would that be when when the through traffic is green, or like, how does all of that work? Or is there like a model that we could see online of the signaling?
yeah, I mean, I could, let's see if I can get it up here, because let's see, I've got my PowerPoint. And I think it'd be good. Let's see if I can get rid of this here. Westbound left turn, eastbound left turn. I always forget what the videos are. On just a second. Oh. usually have these all downloaded on my computer, and let's see where they are. She just bookmarks the 4 easiest ones, where on the left. Sorry, my screen's kind of small. Where's the? Let me just. Somewhere in here, there's a little blue link you click that takes you to all the videos, and I have it at the, oh.
On the website or?
Yeah, this is the website. Let's see.
We
From the
can't see
Richardson turning, I want to turn southbound, but I want to turn right onto airport.
Can you,
Oh, jump to this section. What do you say?
are you sharing just the PDF or the full screen? Because we can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
What am I sharing? How do I stop my share? And if I share my screen. There we go.
Cool.
So on this website, there is a little link here, and I apologize. I just, oh, here we go. Video simulation. Jeez. Okay. And this is southbound turn lane. That's not the one we want. Oh, here we go. Okay. Let's move a bit here. I haven't. And route gallery, northbound left. I can't see, it's so small. That's not right. Eastbound left, no.
Westbound right turn.
Westbound, right turn. There you go. Thanks, great. Is that right? There we go. No, that's going that way.
Southbound west.
Yeah, yeah, nice. See, that's the problem I have. I didn't know what to bring today, so I was like.
This
what?
is one of the, I mean, that's one of the ones I think that Travis
Yeah.
is concerned about.
Is
Yeah.
that what he's?
Yeah, so we could look at that.
Yeah,
one.
because I feel like over here, that signal that was shown, I feel like, I don't think that's signalized there for crossing the ramp. And I don't know, I did show that in the signal plans. I need to go back and look at that real fast, because.
But those turning left will have to, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then, because there is a signal here, and I'm looking at this thinking, I don't know why they wouldn't control this with a signal, so I can't quite remember which direction. This is left, this is right. So hold on a second, the video will tell us here. And I'll go back to that. We can just play it. Video simulations, go back to here. Is this the one you want? No,
I think the one southbound right.
southbound, right, okay.
Yeah, southbound right.
Southbound.
West.
Southbound. Oh, here we go. There's more down here. Eastbound through lane, southbound through lane, northbound through lane, westbound through lane.
No, it's not through lane. It's
Yeah, I can't, one of them, oh, I'm trying to remember which one. It's the one going on in Richardson that shows it. We don't actually model that because it's kind of lame to just like have 2 right turn lanes on the airport way. So I think the video that shows it is the southbound. I think this is the one that we want to play. So let's do that real quick. And, oh, lovely. So they own that.
Contract's over.
No, it totally is, right? All right. All right. No, I actually have those videos here on my, hold on a second. I do have those here. I appreciate your patience. I'm trying to navigate all of this on my little screen here. So this is way easier. I brought these videos with me. So. And I got to move this out of the way, southbound left turn. Westbound, southbound through, so eastbound left turn.
I think anything with a right would be good. Westbound right turn? Okay. Because that one's leaving the base, are we going?
Yeah.
It's confusing how this is
Okay, so we'll get rid of that one. I'll get rid of this one. I actually brought all these videos on. I did bring all of these videos, fortunately. Videos, there we go. So GARS eastbound turn lane.
Sure.
Oh, okay, thank you. Stop share. Oops, I'm playing the video. Okay. And I'm gonna reshare. The videos up here. Share again. Okay.
You're crushing it. Be prepared.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Is it not showing?
No.
Oh, there we go.
go.
Oh, and I hit play, stop. I just wanted to push pause because,
These don't match. It's like the
So-
name didn't match up. with
yeah,
the-
so I don't know if you can see that over here, but you've got 2 free rights. I don't know why. Here's a crosswalk. It's not controlled by a signal. It's see that, sorry. You can see the pedestrian sign right there. There, people are gonna be slowing down. You're gonna be on the sidewalk here and you're gonna have to stop and cross 2 lanes of traffic.
Is it 2 or just 1?
It's 2. Yeah, there's two heading, because that was part of the queue problem, right? Like if you're turning right on the Airport Way, now you can get super stacked up to the 10th Avenue Bridge. So what we did is we put 2 right turn lanes here, spilling westbound on the Airport Way.
Well, there's not really a stoplight then for the people turning right.
No, there isn't, and I'm not, that signal that is for a different direction. It's just,
There's a key right there on the left-hand side. You can see where the viewer is looking, but see that white arrow?
yeah,
So we're headed that way, yep, reaching the intersection. So that right curve is
Yeah.
southbound from there.
yeah, thanks, Corey.
Uh-huh.
And then if you hit play, you just kind of keep going through.
So, but if you look over to the left, if there is a signal mast then over there, we go.
But you can see there's no mast arm control in this here.
Not enough.
Yeah, so now what I should do here is go back and show you, or I mean, I guess we can let this video play. And then I'll show you the other one where you go out, heading eastbound on Airport Way.
So even though that right isn't controlled, are you saying that there will be a point in time when all the lights are working together that there won't be traffic just sweeping into that right?
You will get a
Turn.
calendar, yes.
Okay.
Hairpin, this is where you do
How
Tokyo
long-
drift right there.
Well, yeah, it looks a little bit more, but that's like a 20-mile-an-hour turn. It's not a roundabout, it's graded. It's meant for slow
I think the
speed.
very
Go back to
tail
the
end of
end of
that
that,
video,
yeah.
where they
Can you go to
turn
that?
right,
5 seconds.
that's one of the things Travis is concerned about, Susan was concerned about, and there is a light there. So we're talking about at the very
Yeah,
end.
just scrub to like the last 10 seconds of the video.
Sorry. Please scrub. So here,
Then you just click on the bar, go up a little bit.
right there.
Nope, up, the gray bar is, yeah, that, yeah. You just
So
click one
small.
second, it should go there. Maybe try hitting the space bar and then I'll hit play.
Maybe if I just hit play and then I go like this and grab this and go down here.
Should be able to- I think what we're seeing on screen is the same as what you're seeing on screen.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta,
Yeah, there we go. You see, there's, right at that
There's signal
crosswalk,
there, yeah.
there's signals. No.
but
This is that right turn. If you look at the diagram on the left, you can see the cars.
oh, right there, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. So there's a push button right there, sorry. Now I got what you guys are talking about. Yeah, there is a pedestrian push button. You will control traffic across here, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Well, it's on.
Yeah, it just takes me a minute. Yeah, I apologize. So when you come up here, you're gonna push across here, push across there. So all of these legs are, they will be able to be controlled by pedestrian. Yes, push button, sorry.
On one of those intersections, I think it's the one or coming out of Fort Wainwright on that side, there's a bike or the path, and there's a sign and it's like facing the path and it says no bike pedestrians.
It's that one right there.
So
You
it
can
looks like
see
it's
Oh,
telling
yeah.
you that you're not allowed on there.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, this is visual interpretation. I'd have to go to the sign summary. I don't even think those signs are there. These were built like 3 years ago. I'll have to go back and we could look at the sign.
No, I
summary.
think
It's just the way the one is placed on
Yeah.
the picture that we saw last time. It's like, what?
Yeah, these are just,
No,
yeah, which that's not the case, but that's
Right.
probably telling you no bikes and no pedestrians heading onto the shoulder
In
there.
the road, yeah.
And then they want you to peel off here and take the sidewalk.
I think the way that it's actually placed on site though, is that it's facing the crosswalk. That's why it's Susan kind of flagged that, because it is in a weird spot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a signal here. Now I understand. And initially there was some discussion about not having this be pedestrian controlled, but it is push buttons here on either side. So we can let's go back and verify that. Let's see if I stop my share. And I'll pop the other video, or maybe actually I can just continue to share the screen, right? So I can share these, and then we'll look at southbound, not through, nobody cares about that. Southbound, why is that? Car southbound, lane. That lane we're looking at. Oh, that's what we just looked at, sorry. Oh, we can scrub there. See, eastbound, left turn lane. Here we go. You can't see that one either, can you? Why is that? Okay. Why is that? Not working, so stop sharing. Share screen again. You show the video there. There you go. See, oh, you have to do when you're all on the same screen, you have to show it. It has to be shared in the app. Okay. Is that coming up? Yeah, there we go. But this is, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna get it, I promise. Okay, see, yeah, there's right there. Over to the left, you can see the crosswalk and people are held up there.
Yeah.
So as they go through, there's ped push buttons on each one of those. Yeah, I apologize. Right there. So over here, you can see the crosswalk, you can see the signal, they're held up. So you'll be able to put a ped call in here and cross there, across the ramp. You can't cross 2 lanes of traffic in a shoulder. You can only do 1 at a time. It's been a while since I thought about it, so. And you just keep cruising through. And this will show us the left turn heading north on the Stees. Yeah. Yeah, and see that person up there in front, they just took off. So yep, they got the call, a synchro call, and yeah, and boom. Good push button right there. Another one right there. So
really just the northwest corner of the intersection is the only one without pedestrian control.
I think the northwest corner has pedestrian control too,
Yeah.
Travis. That was in the last video. It's just hard to see because we didn't model that one. We didn't run a simulation through that one. I feel like that was the one we just showed earlier. I feel like you can kind of see it in this one. Let me, sorry.
I mean, if you're coming southbound on the Stees and you want to turn right on Airport, is there any way you'd get stopped by a pedestrian?
Those cars on the left right there, stop.
Yeah, the northwest corner.
Travis, can you see this? This is the northwest corner. Can you see
No,
the?
that's the northeast corner.
No, it's not.
No, north
That's
is
northwest.
Stees. Am I wrong? Oh God, now I'm really losing my brain today. No, that's northwest, Travis, right? Yeah, because north is up the Stees Expressway, northeast, never eat shredded wheat. Yeah, this is the northwest corner.
Okay, well then the corner to your right.
That would be this, yeah, southeast, the southwest corner. So this has pedestrian control here.
But
This
the
is the
one that you can't, the one you can't quite see that's out of the image because it's southbound, 2 lane, right
Oh.
turn.
Sorry, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about right there.
That's the one I'm concerned about.
Yes.
That one right there is the one I'm
Yeah,
concerned about.
this one, Travis, does not have a signal. Yes, that's correct.
So you
Sorry,
just
you're
have
right.
to watch and then run across 2 lanes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, right. Yeah, this is the only part of the intersection, and I can verify that by going back to these plans. So I can look at the shared screen again here.
Yeah, just from my experience trying to cross a single lane right turn southbound Stees
Yeah, it's
to
not-
Johansson.
Let's see. Yeah, so sorry. That's the northbound left. I need the,
There it is
So-
right there.
It's up there in the,
Yeah, they show it right
Right there.
there.
well, yeah, this is coming off the Stees, right? Yep. Yeah, right here he's talking about, yeah, but there's a better drawing for that one that's got the striping on it, right? So I just have to find that one. Let's see, if it shows it.
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
I
here
just
it
need to
is.
go out and see how
It's right
tight of a
here.
corner it is.
Oh, he's got it. This is it right here. He's talking about right here. So this is, north is up. So here you're heading eastbound down Airport Way, you're walking on the south side.
No, I'm talking about,
He's talking right here, isn't he?
East and south.
can you hear me?
Right.
Yeah, I can hear him.
Yes.
I'm talking about turning to the right from the Stees to Airport.
Yeah,
From the right.
that one turning right from the Stees to Airport, that's Airport heading westbound. We just showed that one, Travis. That one has pedestrian push button control. Maybe I misunderstood.
Okay, maybe.
So you're
I'm
headed
confused.
south on the Stees, right, Travis, and you're heading right onto Airport Way?
Yeah, like if I was gonna go from north of town to the library, I would turn there, right?
Yes,
That one has a signal,
that one has a signal. Let me-
traffic signal,
And
yeah.
let me show that one again. It was kind of hard to see in the video there. So I will, let me do that one more time here. Close this up. Sign guards. Yes, and that was southbound 29, that one's better. It's bound right turn. Stop. Maybe this one's a little better. I don't know if that could help. Let's see if I can show this one. And hold on, Travis, I'm gonna share my screen. And let's see. Share. Let's see if I can back up here a little bit more.
Yeah, right there on the right side of the screen.
Yeah, so that's got a signal right there. And there's a crosswalk and that's got a pedestrian push
Okay,
button.
so there is a stop line there.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you can't.
Where that
Yeah.
Jeep, where the Jeep is.
Yep, yeah, there's the stop bar. It's kind of vague.
Okay,
And then there's a traffic signal hanging over top and I don't know, you can't see it, but there's a pedestrian push button right there.
okay,
right there.
great.
Yeah, so the only one that doesn't have it is the opposite side of this one, and that's heading south off of Airport Way, heading on the Richardson.
Okay,
That
that
one
makes-
is your regular pedestrian signal, yeah. And that was the one that if you ended up mixing in the signal, controlling that one for pedestrians was gonna kind of screw up the synchronous or the progression through the intersection, so. Anyway,
okay, thank you, Carl.
yeah, thanks for making me go back through all that.
Now you know now.
No, now I know, I was like, all right, I'm good now, yeah. Okay, so if I stop sharing.
Yeah. Are there any other questions
Yeah.
for Carl? Okay.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
thank
I hope that was
you so
helpful.
much.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody's patience while I navigate and remember things here from a couple years ago. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so then that brings us to the last item on the agenda, which is item 8B. Materials are on pages 23 through 25, just some reminders. Our 6th annual winter maintenance forum is coming up, and the things that I want to talk to y'all about are dates, location, and then I do have a little update about another promotion that we're going to be working on with Bankstown Bike and Ski and Parks and Rec. So first off, last year we wound up having to do the winter maintenance forum mid-November-ish, early to mid-November-ish because of the elections. A lot of the spaces that we like to use were booked up. And I will say, just as the primary event coordinator for this event, I really liked having it in that November-ish time because the snow definitely had fallen at that point, and I feel like winter maintenance wasn't something that people were like putting off anymore. It was something that they were like, oh, I need to like go to this. This is happening. This is my reality again. So I definitely would love to do it kind of early November again, but I'm also totally open to that last week in October or mid-October if people have strong feelings otherwise. So I would love to talk about that. And then I did make this post on our Facebook this past week, just asking for some suggestions about locations, because we can't do it at the Nolan Library, it will be closed. So someone did suggest like the pickle barrel / civic center in Pioneer Park, which feels a little large to me, but I don't know. Any thoughts or ideas on dates and locations?
Have you considered the assembly chambers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to do it at City Hall. But I will say, I think it being like at a government, like the government buildings sort of prevent like a level of access mentally for some people. And I really would like to just keep it open to a facility that just has like good vibes. I think for some people, like going to the assembly chambers isn't ideal, whereas like going to the library is a place that I go pretty regularly and I know how to get there and I know how to do it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Tribal auditorium of the UAS, or there's another auditorium on West Ridge in the geophysical building.
Okay. UAF auditorium. Might need to go just kind of like scope out some. UAF would be interesting. I definitely would like for UAF to be more involved in like our conversations.
The West Ridge location would be smaller. Shiloh might be a little big depending on how many people, but that West Ridge still would fit 100 to 150 people.
Yeah.
I forgot, are we saying in the evening or the day?
Yeah, so historically it's been from 6 to 8.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe 5:30.
5:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, 5:30 to 7:30.
We try to cut it off at 7:30. Yeah, and last year we were very like with time, and it worked out great. We finished just in time. So yeah, I don't know. We don't have to have an answer right now. I definitely want to have like the dates, time, and location booked after, like immediately after our next meeting. So we've still got a little bit of time. So if you could be thinking about it and just like shoot me an email if you come up with an idea, I'm happy to chase all sorts of leads. Again, like that auditorium at UAF, I know which one you're talking about, Matt, and I love the idea of it, but I know for me, especially when it's like just getting cold outside, sometimes parking at the university and then like racing into a building, like just that whole thing, it might prevent people from coming. And I'm really wanting this to be like,
That's part of why I was saying that West Ridge one might
Yeah,
be
better.
fit, because there's a parking lot right outside.
Right there.
the physical.
okay, yeah, let's check it out. Okay,
Switch it up and do it at the North Pole Library.
right, I was thinking about that too. But I know that I just don't know if folks would drive out from Fairbanks.
And Concord Beach as well.
I don't think Camp Coco would be too, it might be a bit small. But that's a good thought. I can go look at it with the winter maintenance forum in mind.
North Pole, you might get the whole town.
Right?
Yeah.
Mushers Hall, like what do we think about Mushers Hall? Big parking lot. Homey vibe.
It's not very central.
In town.
Yeah. What'd you say, Travis?
I said Musher's Hall is fine, but it's not really in town.
Right.
I made some suggestions in the chat.
Sorry, I just.
One of which would be to have multiple locations, like one in person, but then one location with like a Zoom setup, but for people who don't want to use their own computer.
Oh, I see, kind of like if you were at a conference and they were doing an overflow screening, just do
Yeah,
like
and I
a
was thinking
screening somewhere.
Birch Hill Assembly Room has like a giant screen that they can pull down.
That would be interesting. We would probably, Corey and I would have to like divide and conquer on that, I think, which like, I mean, unless there was like a member of the VPAC that was willing to like train up on Zoom management and whatever. I just don't know if we have like the capacity to do that, Travis, just yet.
Okay, yeah, I just was wondering as the meeting gets bigger.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could put a feeler out for like a volunteer. I could maybe see if Evie with Parks and Rec would be interested in helping in that capacity. Because if we could just get someone to like project and drive a Zoom at an alternative location, that would be really cool. And I mean, Farmers Loop could be a good spot for that, or yeah, Birch Hill would be good because people could finish up a ski,
Or a North Pole location.
or North Pole.
Upstairs walking track.
Yeah, that's true.
They held hockey meetings there with 100+ people.
Big Dipper. Okay.
Carlson Center might be a good idea too. Big Dipper is close to the library though.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be a very
and
big
it's
move.
like, it's right off the non-motorized path too, which like I put sandwich boards out there in previous years, and there's lots of foot traffic at that time of year. So,
Like Travis was saying, the room there at Carlson, the conference room.
yeah. Yeah, I think we looked into that one once. I actually, yeah, I did. I had that booked in case of emergency with the library last year because we weren't sure how things were gonna go with the election, and then the slot opened up like November 13th or something, whatever it was. But yeah, okay, these are good hot leads. And then yeah, feelings about the like November dates instead of October. What do we think? We okay with it? Yeah. Bueller, anybody else? Okay. Well, I'm gonna move forward then with similar timing to last year. I think that worked out really well. And then the last thing that I kind of want to touch on is, so we've been doing giveaways and getting just like some sponsorships through REI, and then we'll go and purchase some items to give away, obviously, to get people to attend. It's just what you have to do.
It's little park toolkits.
Right, no, but it's even better, Larry. Listen to this. So Dorian and I were brainstorming the other day, and last year he said, I could probably raffle off a bike. And then we all were just kind of like, did you just say that? But Dorian's got a great memory, and like I brought it up and he was like, oh yeah. So we were talking about like what kind of bike, whatever. And I was like, well, obviously my preference would be a fat bike. So how can fast planning make that work with you? And he said that he would be willing to go in 50-50 on a fat biking setup for us to raffle off. And then what I'm thinking we'll do with this, number one, Parks and Rec is wanting to do a winter biking 101 like workshop thing in September. And so what I'm thinking we do is we partner like our raffle giveaway option with the Parks and Rec raffle giveaway option. And then before all of that and in between that and the Winter Maintenance Forum, we make an effort to table at some of the bike friendly businesses to talk about the bikeways map, the bike repair kit program, and we have the bike on site and a raffle on site. So people can start kind of tracking on this and being like, oh, I want that fat bike. I'm going to get as many entries in as I can. So I'm going to be at Black Spruce on Friday and Little Owl on Sunday, whatever it is. And so then we will be able to advertise the Winter Maintenance Forum, and the goal is you have to be present to win. So if someone gets 8 entries in for this fat bike and then they come to our Winter Maintenance Forum and they win, I mean, that's a minimal and kind of fun amount of work to win something like that could ultimately become your new way to get around in the winter. So and then it would really just, it would advertise fast planning, and it would advertise like our one big event of the year. And I'm just really excited about that. Dorian's super generous to be donating that much towards getting someone else out and about on a fat bike. So if you have any additional ideas about that particular program or style, I think that we'll still be able to get like a few little things to give away here and there. And then we will have a swag item, which might just be the same armbands we got last year, but like hot pink or purple or something. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have any other updates on the Witch Maintenance Forum as of yet. But does that sound good to everybody? Sounds exciting. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, then I think we can move on to item number 9, which is informational items. I don't have anything listed, like written down, but I did want to note that just keep an eye out. We did buy an ad for the program at the fair. So we've got a lot of information on a half page in that pamphlet program thing that they hand out for every single person who goes into the fair. So it seemed like a reasonable thing to do, and we've got all sorts of fun stuff coming at the public just through the fair pamphlet. So keep an eye out for that, and be aware somebody might ask you, oh, I saw that thing that you're involved with, but it's in the fair. This is probably what they'll be talking about. Other issues, I don't have any. Does anybody else have anything?
I just wonder if there was mirrors that were gonna be put in a bridge at Pega Road. I was there again today and they weren't there, so is there any update on when they're gonna get installed?
Yeah, I called them 2 weeks ago and they said 2 weeks. So I'll call them again tomorrow. Yeah.
On Corey's calendar, it says mirror delivery ?
Yeah.
So
I've been harassing them on every deadline they give me.
Who's doing it?
So we source them through Earth, Fire and Safety, and they're gonna hand them off to DOT for installation. So.
I did have some restructuring organization, Ron Davis, Dan Chalker's position, Dan Chalker got promoted. So that might be part of the delay, is they're still playing around with who's in charge of what.
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't even gotten materials yet, but good to know that there's another layer to the onion. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have
Next August.
by the time everything's frozen over. Yeah.
anything else? Okay. Oh,
Can I share my screen one more time?
sure.
Just to make sure. Okay. It just take me a little while here. So I found that these signal drawings are, there's so much going on these, but so this is the northeast quadrant of the intersection, just to verify, I had to go back in. These little tiny dots, here's a signal pole. The light on it, these little dots are specific ped push buttons just for these crosswalks. And they have the same over here as well.
The numbers?
Yeah, these little dots here. So you'll have a little tiny ped push button pole sticking up. So these are specifically to cross these movements through the intersection. So they're at this crosswalk here. I don't know if you can see them here. It's kind of 23 and 22. I had to go back and verify. So they're at all of these, I want to call them free rides, but they're not. So the pedestrian is going to be able to call for a walk at all locations here, with the exception, like Travis did say. And I'm going to find out about this because I don't think I ever specifically asked this question, but they don't call one out up here for the free ride coming out of, off Airport Way. So they yield the peds here. And I remember asking this question, but it doesn't mess with the other location, it doesn't mess with the synchronization of the intersection by letting peds call at everywhere else except for this area up here. So
Is it a single lane up there?
yeah, single lane. I think a lot more.
Great, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It takes me a bit to get into some of these drawings.
173.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
volume 1.
Oh
That's
my
volume
God.
1. Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? Yeah, so thank you. Anyway, I appreciate it. Let me make that clarification.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess other than that, committee member comments?
I got to work at the bike ballet.
Oh, yes,
Mhm.
thank you
That
for
was so fun.
volunteering.
And so,
Aw.
a large number of people walked by and said, geez, if I know about this, I'd brought my bike. So I think if we can keep doing it,
Yes.
it'll help.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, it's hard. Midnight Sunfest is an easy advertisement, you know, because
Mm.
everyone's paying attention, but that's good to hear. Some good feedback for sure. Anyone else? No. Okay, then I guess we can move on to item 12, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Oh, wait,
Can't
we
make
don't
any
have
motions.
quorum. We're adjourned. Meeting is
Now we're
adjourned.
stuck here.
6:52 PM.
We can't adjourn, we're stuck here.
Thanks, Travis. See ya.
Because I had to do there. So.
Oh, I didn't even make quorum. Sorry.
Okay, cool, all right.
So, Ben, I'm in high school with John.
Okay.
Hey,